backdrop, now we're going to talk about healthcare. And it's kind of interesting, because during the summer I had, at one of the plants, and a gentleman came up to me from the machine that was working. He said, you know, I said, I can't figure out what you guys are talking about in Washington. We bought all this healthcare. He said, if I don't have a roof to put over my family's head, and if I can't put food on the table, what's the purpose? These are the two most important things to me. And most Americans I've talked to have said, pretty much, there's not one person that doesn't say that there's not something wrong with healthcare. But at the same time, when we're watching everything sliding down, people are really concerned. Because, you know, with the debt, the deficits, you know, we're going to raise when I say we, not my vote, but, you know, they're going to take the national debt ceiling up to $13 trillion. You know, my calculator at home hits $1 million, and that's the end. But we're talking trillion. And when you look at hitting 13 trillion, with the president under his budgets and everything that they're projecting into the future, you remember he had to correct himself. He said, well, in 2019 it'll be another $7 trillion added to the debt. They revised, he said, wait a minute, now it's $9 trillion. I've seen figures that it's actually closer to 13 trillion. So we'll be $26 trillion in debt by 2019. So when we talk about healthcare, you know, again, I think that, you know, what they're looking at doing, first of all, if you went around and talked to people and said, are you happy? Most people are now saying, yeah, I'm happy with our healthcare that they individually have. Because when you look at these numbers, people are starting to say, wait a minute, what could happen to my healthcare? You know, it's just like my kids. We have two cars. We got a 99 Ford and an 05 Ford. So guess which car the kids get to ride? They get to ride the 99. If my wife or I'm not driving. Before the girls got their driver's license, they hated that car. It was the wrong color. It's old. It looks like something, this is what they said, it looks like something your grandmother would drive, and it went all the way down the line. The day that my oldest daughter got her driver's license, and the day that the first noise that she heard in the engine, she said, Dad, there's something wrong with the car. But we are going to get it fixed now. That's got a great car. But it's all about perception. But as we look through this bill, and this is it. Now, this is the first bill that, and believe it or not, I didn't read this. This is the first bill that came out with. This is 1,028 pages long. And this is actually on double-sided right here. And it took all weekend for me to read it. And because I read it, and I underlined it, and I paged it so I knew exactly what it was. This is the new bill. This bill weighs just a hair under 20 pounds. It's 1,990 pages long, and they're not done yet. You know, you can't put out something like this and actually say that you know exactly what this thing's going to do. When you start taking this thing apart, we find out there's $505 billion in cuts to Medicare. $505 billion cuts to Medicare. You're looking at a premium increase on prescription of at least 20%.
Teachers, we have approximately 1 hour left in our day one of conferences. If you would please keep a record of the number of conferences that you had today and report those in the office on the sheet on the counter before you leave. Thank you.
Now somebody is getting graded tonight. But when you look at the Medicare cuts, when you look at the increases in the health, the premium, there's even a tax in here if you need a medical device, if you need a wheelchair, if you need a hearing aid. If you need some kind of a medical bill or bed, or you need a knee replacement, you need a hip replacement, it's in here. There's $730 billion worth of taxes contained in this bill right here. What they said was, oh, we're not going to tax the American people for those medical devices, but you know, I hate to say it, people in this district are pretty savvy, and people say, do they take us for being stupid? We know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to have to pass those costs right on to us. And they're coming. When you start looking at what this bill does in you know, actually looking at rationing coming, and it's going to be coming quickly. And I'll give you a quick example of how it's going to work right off the bat. This is hard. You know, if you have what they call a Cadillac health plan, and the auto workers are very concerned about this. If it's a $8,000 for a single to about $21,000 for a family plan, what will happen is on some of the things you'll have a 35% tax. 35% tax. So what they say is this: oh, we're not taxing the insured. We're taxing the insurance company. So what happens then, and believe it, I've heard them actually say this. They then say, okay, it goes to the employer says, I can't afford this, and we're going to cut it. This is what they say in Washington that are pushing this thing. By people not having these great golden plans, you won't go to the doctor as much, we're going to cut the rate down. Well, but there's some people out there that have to have these plans because of their medical condition. A very good friend of mine, she found last year that she had a horrible type of cancer, but for the rest of her life, she has to be on $50,000 a year medication. There is no other treatment for this. Zero. No other treatment. So what they're going to be able to do is they're going to say, well, we're only going to cover X, and this is all we pay in Phoenix. But if your doctor's back here say you need something, you're not going to get it, because we're only going to cover it down here, because that's all they're giving over here. So it's going to be a dumbing down of the system. I had a couple of, we have a lot of Canadian doctors in our district. And at a couple of the meetings, I had the docs come up to me and they say, we don't understand what you're doing. Why do you think we came to the United States? We wanted out of that system. In Europe, in certain countries, that if you need a certain type of prescription that's too expensive, you don't get it because they won't even let it into the country because it's a killer for their costs. So we're going to keep the costs down. We're just having this legislation is going to be very detrimental when it comes to research because there's going to be no incentive out there for anybody to try to figure out what we're going to do. So when you look at the taxes, there's another interesting provision here before I forget. You could actually go to jail if you don't get insurance. Civil and criminal penalties in this bill. Small businesses, once you get over $500,000 in payroll, you're starting to see, and you get this, and if you don't have private insurance right off the bat, it's going to start kicking in, and up to 8% of your payroll. It's estimated 5 million jobs will be lost because of this bill. I'm not talking about cap and tax. I'm not talking about since the beginning of the year, but right now. So when you have the taxes, when you have the mandates, 3,425 times the word shall is used in this bill. 3,420. Now, there's one page, that much of a paragraph that has man. You know what that is? Get this. They snuck in here and saying, members of Congress don't have to fall under public option. It says may. Well, I'm on a bill that says, if you vote for this thing, you shall take it. And you know how many folks on the other side will sign on to that bill? Zero. But, this is something that needs a lot of work. But, what they're doing right now, surprise, surprise, when you're looking at doing a bill between Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're hoping everybody's worried about something else. Getting the tree up, buying the gifts, doing whatever, going to visit, whoever. But we're in for it. And so I'm going to throw it open, but I appreciate you being here this evening, because I said, the future of our country, this is the most monumental piece of legislation since FDR, is right here. This is